I've added the paint to my brand new palette, and I'm going to make a color card to go with my palette. This is 140-pound watercolor paper, professional watercolor paper. I have cut the paper 3 inches wide. You can make it any way you want to make it, but I like it this way. And then I'm going to make 1/2 inch marks down my page. So I'm going to take the ruler, run it to the end, and make 1/2 inch marks all the way down. Let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then I'll have a space, 13, 14, 15. About the width of the ruler. I'm going to put it up to the end. Because it's a deckled edge, it's throwing me off just a little bit. So let me see if I've got this first one right. I think it's correct. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint each color all the way down. I think I'll start because I'm right-handed, and I'm going to end up putting my palette on the side where the colors are on the outside. Then I will take my brush, I'll go from paint to mixing to painting on the painting. Paint, mixing, painting on the painting. That's the way I want it. Now if you're left-handed, you may want to have it on the other side and go paint, palette, painting, so that you're not dripping across your painting. Okay, with a black marker, it's just a black Sharpie marker, I'm going to make a black line all the way down and then let it dry. I'm going to go a little bit off the edge. And I want it to be fairly fat, a fat black line. It's 3 inches wide, and there's 1/2 inch marks all the way down on both sides, about this wide. And then I've written all the colors that are in my palette. And I wrote them so that I could use vermilion or cad red light depending on when one runs out and I may have another one. So I wrote the card according to the list that you will get from me of all the various colors. And I'm going to start, and I'm going to make sure that when I go across the black line, I want it to be very thick pigment. And then when it gets out to the side, I'm going to water it down. That way I can see my colors thick and thin, as well as the black line will tell me if the paint is sitting on top or if it's transparent, if it's opaque or transparent. I'm using a thin brush. I'll change out my water more often than I normally do. And I'm using a thin flat brush just because it's easy to keep these lines. So I start off with some very thick paint. That way it sits on that line. Then I'm going to thin it down, dry off my brush, and I'm going to just pull out some paint that's already there and make it thinner. Washing my brush. That way I can see a thick and a thin. I'll go to the next color. I want it to be pretty thick on this first go. My paint has dried in my set now, so all I have to do is activate it. I noticed I had a blob of paint on the back side of my brush, so I was getting that paint off. I'm dragging it out so I can see the thinner version. Okay, you can see that I have left white paper in between each one. A few places I touched the two paint colors together and they bled, but it worked out okay. All my colors are written in. All my black line is there, and I'm sitting the colors thick on the black line, and then I water down and get thinner on the outside edge. That way I can see which is transparent and which is opaque by the black line, as well as when I get thinner on the side, this one I can tell bled way over, then I can tell what the paint color is like once it's a thinner pigment. After this is completely dry, then I will cover it with packing tape.